Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we're talking about Rust Console Edition modular vehicles. That's right, cars are coming soon for us. I know it seems like just yesterday we were on the heels of that next gen version, and yes, we're already looking at the modular vehicles. Now, it's not a huge surprise that these are coming relatively soon, because there was the most work done on these that we actually got to see, that it kind of leaked here and there well before we knew next gen was coming. But now we have the official roadmap, so we do know cars are coming soon. And with our current schedule, the way things are going to be hammered out now, yeah, we're looking at this thing in like what, 3-4 weeks, give or take, maybe less, maybe a little bit more. But for the most part, we're spinning up our first PTB cycle for the next gen consoles. So let's go ahead and, yes, by the way, I'm Jade Monkey. Hi. All right, so August is going to be when our modular vehicles drop, because our cycle happens at the end of the month. Cycle at the end of the month. The PC starts at the first Thursday of the month, and then the last Thursday of the month is for us. So most likely this will hit live or normal Rust modular vehicles at the end of August. That's not terrible, because we will get PTB, because that cooks for roughly a month. And because of that, we're probably looking at, again, as I said, 3 to 4 weeks before we see this on PTB. So we'll have our dirty little greasy meatballs on this in about 3 to 4 weeks on PTB. And if you notice, each of these months here are packed with DLCs as well. Not 100% sure. A lot of people are asking like where are the cargo container skins and whatnot for these. I'm sure it'll drop on one of these. My guess is it'll be in September or August. They're one of the stronger ones to put out. So, and they've also kind of grouped things together that weren't necessarily grouped together previously, because like the gates and stuff, we kind of just got those over on PC. So the fact that we have those now is a good indicator. So what's really good is all of the stuff that was DLC looks like it is now on the table to be released, and the fact that we have every month as a release window for this is kind of telling me like, okay, and this is just like a hint of a few of them. These are actually the little trophies, but like the wallpaper, the shelving, right? So yeah, it's going to be a big deal. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what that's all about. Okay, so let's break down the modular vehicles. Actually, no, you know what? As we're flying over here, because I kind of want to show you some of this other stuff. Some of the things that will change for us, but I do want to cover the fact that we have quality of life. Not really sure what that's going to be. It could be any number of things, but we do have the MLRS Desert and the DLC and the Arctic update. And you'll notice that each of those, or maybe you don't know, each of those monuments do have vehicles associated with them. Well, the MLRS, I mean, it is a vehicle, but it's an attack vehicle, and it's stationary. Essentially, you can launch missiles across the map, so it really helps break up those larger bases, because the footprint is very area of effect. And so, obviously, larger bases would be, you know, easy pickings for stuff like that. You can see this bad boy right here. The scientists are probably counting. So you need quite a bit for this to actually operate. And the Arctic base, which will be closer to towards the end of the year, we will get snowmobiles with that as well. They do operate on sand, beaches, and obviously the snow. Grass, not so much. But, you know, more vehicles, the better. Okay, so speaking of, when the modular vehicles do come in, it does bring a monument. It does bring the junkyard. It does have the ability to grind up materials there, or even like Shrek vehicles, or even the modular vehicles themselves. So if some group is in there recycling, you could just put their thing in the wood chipper, and that's that. Pretty funny. You can get some scrap and materials out of that. But it's nice to see another monument. We also kind of knew the junkyard was coming for us, as way back when we first got the custom servers, this did kind of appear back in the day. So it is nice to finally see that. And speaking of all these different roads and dirt roads, our ring road is almost up to par. I know it's gone through multiple iterations here because there's been a lot more procedural changes on this map, but I think there'll just be a few more road changes for us, and I think we'll be up to par. Obviously, we know the vehicles are coming. So some of the things to look out for: more fleshed out roads, flatter surfaces as you go over different terrains, but most noticeable, and also kind of an indicator of another update that is yet to come that they have not announced. But right here at the front of the Outpost, you should see this change here. You should see that there are jersey walls on the outside and a bit of a walkway. You still can't drive a vehicle inside of the Outpost unless you're on a Mini. But you notice it's got a bend here, and even the turret that used to be on top of a crate is now on top of a beat-up old pickup. Pretty nice. But check this out. And so we'll kind of have to wait to see when this does hit PTB to see what kind of scarring or markings we have here. But you can see very easily, and we covered this before, but yes, that is a terminal that goes underground. I did do a video on this previously showing the indications of this well before we even knew there was next-gen version coming out, so I'll go ahead and link that video now in the upper right hand corner. Deloop, if you want to go check that out. Actually, you can probably still see markings from that over on the old gen as well. So yeah, a lot of cool indicators here. Again, you should see some more subtle pieces out there. This is a bit of an error here, but you should see more roads interconnected and a more smoothness across the board. And here's the thing, a lot of people are probably like, hey, we already have air vehicles. What's the big deal with all these ground vehicles? Here's the thing, if you've flown the air vehicles, they can be difficult if you're brand new, sure. But it does cost scrap each time you do it. These ground vehicles make it more accessible for everybody and off the rip. Yes, you do need to have certain components inside of here. And yes, you do need to have this on a lift essentially. But you can just find these on the side of the road just like this. Throw in some components here, low grade, whatever. Low grade components and also low grade, and then you can just drive this thing around. You can step it up by putting it, whoa, okay, kitty, okay. You can step it up by putting it on a lift and then adding a lock to it, which means nobody can get inside. You can unlock it for other players if you so desire, but if it does take a lot of damage, you will, people will be able to enter it. But here's the thing, so off the rip, everybody has mobility, and get this, since you can lock the car and also make different configurations, as a matter of fact, let's go back to the base over here, but we do have like the different modules, as the name would imply, modular vehicles. The camper module is fantastic because you can spawn inside of it, and it also has lockers built into the top and a grill. I was going to say cooking combo. It does. Ooh, caves. No word on caves yet, by the way. No word on caves officially. The camper has the ability to spawn everywhere. So now if you can lock the vehicle and then put a combination of an armored chassis and also the camper on the back, you can go into hostile areas and like just do some crazy farming as a solo with a jackhammer, pretty much with impunity, right? You don't really have to worry too much because if you get clapped, you essentially just spawn back on the bed inside of the camper. And then you can grab a brand new kit and be like, okay, so like you can set this as your bed, and then you can just look up, where's right there. And then these are locker slots. And since everything would be locked, nobody can get inside. And if you do have the armor module like this here, you can just switch to it, have these things all the way down, and literally, unless your car is extremely damaged in the front and they're shooting down the barrel, you can just drive away with the loot that you have. You can recover the loot you did just lose if you got sniped or shot or whatever. You can rush it back to the vehicle, get inside, and then take off. So you can already start to see as like small groups, large groups, but especially solos, this really helps out. You can take these into the LZ and go ham. It's great for traveling. It's also great for raiding. Think about that for a second, right? Like the ability to have a mobile base and then like a respawn locker is pretty sick. I mean, anybody that's been playing for a while, you kind of know how dope that is. And here's the thing too, like not only is it going to change that across the board, but it's going to change a lot of footprints on a lot of different bases. This has a pretty high impact across the board. Because think about it, if you have a compound, your gatehouses are going to have to accommodate these, or you're going to have a separate garage on the outside. That's going to be a thing. And if you want to be bringing the loot back home, either you're going to have some kind of automated system that pumps it from your garage into the base, or you're going to have a gatehouse that accommodates this. Also, you will need things to accommodate the lift as well. Decay does happen on these vehicles, yes. And by the way, you can see you can add the code lock here for 75 metal scrap. And by the way, at the junkyard, you can do this for, well, not for free, but you don't need a lift. You can put it on their lift and then activate it there. So even if you don't have a base, technically, if you had enough metal scraps, you could put a lock on your vehicle. So junkyard's going to be a hot spot for sure. Yeah, so back to the base discussion here. Yeah, really, you're going to need spaces for these bad boys, but if you manage to, let me actually get inside of this. Beep, 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 beep. So now, if everything's empty, I should be able to take all these different frames off. What's cool about this is you can just leave the frame on there like this, and it leaves the lift completely up, and it actually saves the chassis over time. That's one of the better ways to store your vehicle more long-term, and then store these modules somewhere else. Oh, look, it's a little car with a hazmat guy driving. Do you think he has a license? Probably not. So like this is a good way to store your vehicle. So you would need a lift and a little bit of power. But most people that have even just a small compound, this probably isn't too crazy. And the fact that we've had horses for a while now, having this type of space isn't too crazy. Although you'll notice it isn't exactly a 1x2. You have this this gauge here that kind of sticks out. So you'll have to accommodate that. But again, if you're building inside of a gatehouse, not too bad. So yeah, the fact that we have all these different ground vehicles coming this year, right? Pretty much, I think that's all of them. Ooh, wait, no. Okay, one exception. All the motor vehicles and pedal bikes may or may not come with this. Not really sure. And maybe the vendor, my guess is motorcycles, bicycles, and then the mobile vendor will probably be in its own update. That's my guess. But who knows? Maybe they surprise us and hit us with a bunch of stuff right away. That would be kind of sick. I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. Pedal bikes are, you know, you gotta just pedal that bad boy, no gasoline required. Yeah, those are nice to kind of traverse, but also it makes you a giant target. But hey, any transportation is good. But for the most part, we have all the major transportation here, pretty much for 2025, and then packed with all these DLCs, which makes this a very exciting update. I really cannot wait. So like barrels are going to be a huge meta for everybody. Jungle barrels will be later. Maybe they kind of stagger them in. The fact that we have shelving now can make really, really small, compact bases very, very efficient with space. Yeah, so it's really awesome to kind of see all these different skins come through, like 1-to-1, and also all of these other more, I guess, dare I say, these are a little bit pay to win. But definitely, if you're spending money on skins, you're gonna want one of these barrels because it makes your loot rooms insanely efficient. You can just jam it, pack it full of loot, and yeah, it's really hard to go back after you start using barrels. So yeah, we got these vehicles coming up here in like what, 3-4 weeks on PTB. We'll let you guys know when PTB is actually up. Or I should say, as of recording this, PTB is not up for us on the next gen consoles. Hey, and pretty soon we can just call it Rust Console because they will shutter the old gen version at the end of October, last I heard. Still no official word on what that event is going to be, but very exciting to have all of this kind of come together. And what I really think, like, yes, this is also very fast, but I think once this car update comes in, the next one's going to come in right after that. So we're really going to start to feel what it's like to play on PC because there's our like back-to-back like every month. So yeah, we're definitely in a good place. Yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the next one, on the next live stream / video. And we'll also have the link to the video early on the end screen now. And we'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye. Oof, oof.